एज कहाँ यूज करते हो, लाइन से ऊपर। सपोज आएगा आपके यहाँ पे एज, या फिर आप इसको इस तरह के मोशन में बनाते हो, आता वर्ड एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर। एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर के लिए जही में आर लगा देंगे, मेजर्स होगा तो एस लगा देना। एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर, एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर्स, एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल मेजर, मेजर्स के लिए एस लगा देना। एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल मेजर, एज द हाउस इज अवेयर, एज द हाउस इज अवेयर, हाउस के लिए क्या लगाते हैं, एस लगा देते हो आप। एज द केस में बी, एज द केस में, एज क्विकली एज पॉसिबल, एज सुन एज पॉसिबल, इनिशियल सर्कल बड़ा है इसके अंदर, एज सुन एज मे बी, एज सुन एज देयर इज, डबलिंग कर देंगे। एज स्ट्रिक्टली एज पॉसिबल, STR का लूप, सर्कल इनिशियल सर्कल बड़ा रखना, एज स्ट्रिक्टली एज पॉसिबल, एज मच एज टू से, मच लाइन से ऊपर रखेगा हल्का सा, इसको टच नहीं होना चाहिए। एज मच एज टू से, एज मच एज यू कैन, एज मच एज, यहां पे यू लगा देना, एज मच एज यू कैन, एज मच एज यू लाइक, सेम आउटलाइन है, बस आई पुट कर देना, लाइक के लिए आई पड़ा जाएगा। एज मच एज यू लाइक, एज मच टाइम एज पॉसिबल, एज मच टाइम एज पॉसिबल, एज लॉन्ग एगो एज, ये डार्क बनाना है NG का, और एज में ऐसा, ये एज का सर्कल, ये डार्क बनाना है, और ये एगो, एज लॉन्ग एगो एज लॉन्ग एज, फिर से डार्क बनेगा, एज लॉन्ग एज देयर, इसकी डबलिंग कर देना डार्क के साथ ही, एज लॉन्ग एज यू कैन, सेम इसमें ये वाला पैटर्न पुट कर देना, एज लॉन्ग एज यू कैन में ये आएगा सेम, एज लॉन्ग एज यू कैन, यहां यू लगा देना। एज लॉन्ग एज यू लाइक, आई लगा देना, बस इसको डार्क रखना, सेम पैटर्न है। एज मच एज यू लाइक की तरह लॉन्ग में भी आपने आई पुट कर देना है। लिखो, वर्ड लिखोगे आप कुछ, एक और वर्ड लिख लो, एज में अपीयर नेसेसरी, तो एज में अपीयर नेसेसरी के लिए लार्ज सर्कल लगा देते हैं, वो पहले पढ़ चुके हो आप। लिखो, एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर, एज एन इमरजेंसी मेजर्स, एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल मेजर, एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल मेजर्स, as the house is aware, as the case may be, as the case may, as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, as soon as may be, as soon as may, as soon as there is, as soon as there is, as strictly as possible, as much as to say, as much as you can, as much as you like, as much time as possible, as long ago as long as there, as long as you can, as long as you like, as may appear necessary. डिक्टेशन लिखेंगे पहले 100 पे और ये कंटेंट आपको मिल जाएगा उसके अंदर। टेस्ट नंबर 28 के नाम से इस वाले पे मिलेगा, PP प्रोग्राम डबल M के साथ में .steno 18.in और ये आपको मिलेगा SSC C ग्रेड टेस्ट 28 यूट्यूब @100 विद कोमा है, @80 विद कोमा है और नो कोमा है। अपलोड कर दिया मैंने, आप इसके बाद में जाकर टेस्ट कर सकते हो। पहले 100+ पे लिखेंगे, 100 के आसपास, फिर 80 पे लिखेंगे। Started. I may draw the attention of the House to a special feature of the budget, and it is this: with all the heavy expenditure on defense to the tune of 30%, the developmental activity has not been slowed down. Today, we are spending about 19% of the different development activities, but in this respect, I would like to submit that the allocation for education in the budget continues to be at 2 to 3%. I think education is a very important subject as it affects the minds of our younger generation, and it gives us the necessary technical personnel who are, say to say, the hands and feet of our development. What we find here is that instead of making an increase in this particular direction on education, we are keeping it at the same level. I would submit that the finance minister should give his due consideration for increasing the budget on education. Now I turn to the performance and the working of the ministries. I would like to say something first about the work that the Planning Commission is doing. Of course, the Planning Commission is doing an excellent work. It is at present preparing the 12th five-year plan. Not only that, it is preparing a prospective plan for a number of years. It is also giving a vision. It is also suggesting certain priorities insofar as the progress of our country is concerned. The Planning Commission is also carrying out different kinds of studies and researches. But at the same time, what I feel is that the Commission must apply itself also to the weaker sections of the society, namely the landless laborers, the artisans, and those who are living in the rural areas. It must also apply itself as to how the weaker areas or the underdeveloped area in our country can be helped. I know that the Planning Commission has prepared certain indicators and has asked the state governments to show which are the regions which are underdeveloped according to the indicators. But that much of attention will not do. We have to give more attention, because if such areas continue so in the different states in the country, it will hamper the general progress of the country. From the questions that are asked in this house, the minister will know the anxiety amongst the members. So, I would suggest for the consideration of the minister that a special wing be established in the Planning Commission to study and prepare schemes for such regions. Today, only 7 states have informed as per indicators about these regions, and even then, I would submit that a special wing may be constituted in the Planning Commission to study and prepare schemes for such regions. This wing should not merely prepare schemes, but it must at the same time also watch the implementation of the schemes that are meant for such regions. The Planning Commission must direct that a special provision be made and priority given to all the schemes for such regions. The economic development of such a region depends upon the building up of economic overheads in that particular region, and you will find, as I have given certain figures, that insofar as Marathwada area is concerned, there is lack of such economic overheads. Therefore, industries are not coming up, and since industries are not coming up, other developments are also falling short. So, I would request that consideration may be given to constitute a special wing in the Planning Commission for the underdeveloped areas. Coming to the Ministry of Education, what I find is that the Ministry of Education has been going after too many things. It is going after too many changes and also too many experimentations. I think the time has come when we should stop this policy of going after too many changes and too many experimentations in the field of education. It is because of this that we have not been able to achieve, after 18 years of freedom, a common pattern throughout the country. I think a plea has already been made by a lady member about the pattern. Different patterns exist in different states of our country. One does not know what has happened to the educational objectives that have been incorporated in the different reports with regard to primary education, secondary education, and college education. Nobody has tried to pursue as to how far the educational objectives that have been incorporated in these reports have been put through in the different states. As far as I know, basic education is not being worked in the spirit in which it ought to be, and there are different misconceptions about it. So, it should be seen by the Education Ministry that instead of going after too many changes and too many experimentations, they concentrate and see that at least a common pattern of education at the primary level, the secondary level, and the college level is evolved throughout the country. The President has said that in the last 60 years, we have progressed along this path illumined by Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. We shall adhere to it, come what may, with the determination and courage instilled in us by Sonia Gandhi. In my opinion, this is the time for all of us, whether belonging to that side or this side, irrespective of party affiliations, to rededicate ourselves to these basic fundamentals of our Constitution. If we do that, we will be a united India. Not only will we command respect in the community of nations, but the foundations will be such that nobody on the earth will be able to do any harm to us. I have one thing to say, that our country is a continent, and in this continent we have faced this year one of the severest droughts in 100 years. It is the prudent policy of having accumulated buffer stocks that, in spite of setbacks that we have experienced, there has been any starvation death. That is a tribute to the ingenuity of our policy of having created the buffer stocks. ये 1000 प्लस वर्ड है, 40 के आसपास, फ्लक्चुएशंस 110 के आसपास तक का है, स्पीड 100 प्लस है, और ये आपको SSC C D टेस्ट 28 यूट्यूब पे @with कोमा के नाम से मिल जाएगा। और जो आपको मैंने असाइनमेंट दिया था वो आपको बुधवार को सबमिट करना है विद डिक्टेशन। मैंने एक प्रैक्टिस सेट दिया था केसी रिव्यू के नाम से, आपको मैं सेकंड सेट दूंगा उसके हिसाब से। नेक्स्ट लिखेंगे 80 पे। रेडी, स्टार्ट इट। Madam Deputy Chairman, I rise to support the bill which has been moved by the Honorable Minister of State in the Ministry of Home Affairs. This bill incorporates certain sentiments which the country holds so dear as far as the office of President is concerned, and also incorporates the faith of the people in themselves, that when they will elect a president, the person who would be occupying the high post would be a person who would have not only the love and affection of the people, but would be, as the Honorable Minister pointed out, a dedicated politician whose whole life is dedicated to the service of the nation before he became the president, during his occupation of the office of president, and even after he retired from that office. It is this confidence of the people in themselves and the high love and affection which they hold for this office which have resulted in this particular bill being considered by the House at the present moment. The Honorable Minister has pointed out that the President, who has just retired, has fulfilled all the requirements which are the basis of this particular measure, and the measure which was passed in 2001. I wish that he had mentioned the last Governor General also, to whom both the measures apply. Whether we may agree or may not agree with the last Governor General on some of the political views that he holds, there can be no two opinions that the last Governor General was also an illustrious son and is an illustrious son of this country and deserves all the consideration, all the love and all respect of the country which are being incorporated in the present measure and were incorporated in the 2001 Act. While therefore fully supporting the measure which is now before the House, I would like certain clarifications regarding the rules that are going to be made for giving effect to the provisions which have been incorporated in the present bill. In the statement of objects and reasons, we are told that a person holding the high office of President has, even after retirement, many public calls on him, and it is therefore considered desirable to provide him with secretarial staff. It is further stated that the bill provides for a staff which may be engaged for the President. Staff might be appointed for him and office space might be provided for him. It is because of this that certain misgivings have arisen in the minds of some of the members, and they want it to be made perfectly clear that the staff will be appointed not only for the ex-president but will be appointed by the ex-president, and it will be his wishes and his desires that will be taken into account when a particular person is being appointed. Also, regarding the office which is engaged for him, his wishes should be taken into account so that he knows what would be a convenient place for him and he may try to get that place. Another reason for insisting on what I consider to be an important detail is that if the government appoints the staff for the ex-president, then automatically they become government servants because they have been appointed by the government. It may be that in the rules a clarification might be attempted whereby they may be exempted from some of the service conduct rules which are applicable to normal government servants. But even there, it will be much better that this should not be left in any doubt, and that these persons that are appointed to assist the ex-president in his secretarial task are appointed by the ex-president himself. They would be the staff of the ex-president and would not be appointed by the government for the ex-president and would not be government servants. This point ought to be made quite clear so that the ex-president has got all the right of determining the service conditions of the people appointed by him. Of course, subject to the overall limit which has been provided and to my mind rightly provided in the bill. Within that overall limit, perhaps it will be much better to leave the rest of the matter to the President himself, so that we may also express our further confidence in the President to the effect that he would utilize it with discretion and with all sense of responsibility and fair play, and taking into account the interests of the public and of the public exchequer too. Another point which also needs some clarification is regarding the payment to be made for the secretarial assistance and for the secretarial staff. Normally, government rules require that whenever any such demand is made on the public exchequer or on the consolidated fund of India, a certain formality has to be given through, and that formality of accounting has to be in a prescribed form. ये कंटेंट आपको 80 प्लस स्पीड बोला गया है, फ्लक्चुएशंस 85 प्लस तक का है, और ये आपको SSC C D ग्रेड टेस्ट नंबर 28 यूट्यूब @80 विद कॉमा नो कॉमा दोनों सेंस में मिल जाएगा आपको। वेडनेसडे को आपको जो फर्स्ट वाला सेट है वो सबमिट करना है सभी को। आपको मैं नेक्स्ट सेट दे दूंगा जो भी सबमिट कर रहे हैं उसको, उसकी दोनों चीज़ें सबमिट होगी, एक वो